How do you move 1,000 Satoshis for one Satoshi in a split second?
Right.
Right. So having a value network becomes a credit network. And so for all these social networks, you can actually inject the quality of credit worthiness. And you could do it at different scales. For example, you could post 100,000 Satoshis to get a small check. You could post a Bitcoin to get a green check. You could post 10 Bitcoin to get a purple check.
Hi, I'm CryptoPositive. If you like this video, please leave a comment and subscribe to the channel. It's very important to the channel and gives me motivation to make more videos about crypto for you. And now let's go to the video.
And if I'm going to go ahead and scalp tickets, or I'm going to book a flight from someone online, I want them to have a purple check because I want recourse against them if they lied to me or defrauded me. Adam Back's idea, proof of work to fight spam. Well, we're living in a world 30 years later, and we still have spam.
Yeah.
Like we're running 2 levels of spam filters at my company. 90% of my email is spam. I'm getting spammed on LinkedIn. I'm getting spammed on Facebook. I'm getting spammed on Instagram. I'm getting spammed on Twitter. All of the news feeds are getting spammed. And it's worse than spam. There are hostile, malicious actors that are fake bots that are waging a psychological psyops warfare to destroy people and ideas and demoralize them. And they do it for economic reasons. They do it for political reasons, et cetera. And there is no way to stop that in the absence of some kind of value network. So the killer application for a Bitcoin with social networks is creditworthiness leading to cybersecurity, safety, and civility in cyberspace. Now, if you think about where you can apply this idea of just a security deposit, which is the same as a cyber bond, if you will, or a cyber passport. The beauty, by the way, is you don't have to disclose your identity. You could spin it up and spin it down, and it's lightning fast and dirt cheap. So it's open to everybody. But once you spin up this idea, it works across every social network. It cleans up all of the feeds, the news feeds, et cetera. It also works for all the communication networks. Mm-hmm. So you've got WhatsApp and Signal and iMessage and Zoom, and you've got Gmail, every other mail, Office 365. All of these things have spam, imposter, malicious accounts. The phishing attacks are ridiculous. Right. So if you're a corporation and you want to send something, maybe you ought to post. If someone sent me a mail message and I knew they'd posted 1,000 Bitcoin security deposit, and if they had it all at risk and if they could lose it instantly on the platform, I would probably trust them more. Mm-hmm. Like it's all about cyber reputation. If you really want me to do something risky, what do you have at risk? What's your value at risk? Mm-hmm. Now, what's interesting about this is you're picking up all these security deposits. The platforms could use the money, the float, to do something if they wanted.
Yeah.
And it's generally good for Bitcoin because it locks up the Bitcoin on the platforms. And the sky's the limit. Once you've done that, you're not that far from say, implementing fees. You could say, look, you want to send me a message, pay me 1,000 sats. You can have micro payments, you can have streaming payments, you can tie services to creditworthiness. Look, if you go to a bank and you put a bunch of money in the bank, they'll give you a higher level of service, right, than if you put a small amount of money in the bank. So if you want to distinguish services, whatever they might be, it might be more bandwidth on spaces or more bandwidth or something.
Yeah.
Or it might be some other functionality. But everybody eventually can become a bank. And, that takes us like entertainment news. I mean, they have similar opportunities. They either sell access via these micro payments, or they curate the response. They create safer forums and safer spaces by requiring that you be creditworthy in order to engage, or they certify their news by posting some creditworthiness. There's a lot of news circulating around. So if you're trying to separate fake news from real news, then you could use this to certify.
It's interesting.
You've also got service providers like Uber and OpenTable and Airbnb. And for them, the idea of creditworthiness also matters. It matters when you're pairing restaurants with customers. Like, can I trust the customer to show up to the restaurant? Will they forfeit their deposit? Can I trust the driver? Can I trust the passenger? Can I trust the person that's going to come into my Airbnb? They try to do that with reputation, but there is no more important metric, I think, than the creditworthiness. If someone says, I'll post $10 million in order to drive your car for the weekend,
yes,
it's highly unlikely that they're going to trash your car.
Yeah.
Right. And one way or the other, it's just an example of insurance policy or a bond. I mean, if you have the recourse, to the bond in cyberspace, then it creates accelerated commerce, and that means that millions of people can trade with millions of people without the impedance of quote unquote getting to know each other. There's not a day that goes by, Robert, that you don't hear about someone getting hit with a denial of service attack. If you have an open website, there are hostile actors in Eastern Europe, and they'll unleash an army of machines or an array of machines, and they'll just start hammering your website to take it down. And it happens all the time. It's like spamming, except it's worse, right? And that's because there's no cost for denial of service.
Yeah.
But a lot of the proof of work, and a lot of the Bitcoin protocol was to protect the underlying Bitcoin mining network from denial of service attacks, right? But this actually solves the problem. If you have a web service and you require someone have an orange check, you could actually filter on the orange check, and you could then prevent the denial of service attack, or you could protect yourself from it. Again, like having a credit rating in cyberspace. And since it's open to everybody in the world, anybody can have one. And it causes 98% of the malicious behavior to be non-economic anymore. It doesn't make any sense. So I didn't spend much time on retail, but clearly retail is another example of a layer 3 application of Bitcoin. And it's either buying, selling, trading security deposits or credit checks or the like as you're doing business. If I'm selling something to someone and I trust them and I trust their credit rating, then maybe you can do business with retailers friction-free that don't know you and you don't know them. Right. And it definitely is the case that if I'm Amazon or I'm setting up a retail operation, people are coming at me that I don't know very well. And so what I want to do is find a way to accelerate the transactional speed. And I do that with some type of Lightning security deposit and or Lightning payment. We didn't really touch on the elephant in the room here, which is the Visa MasterCard network costs 2.5%. Right. And so just the general payments network in general and remittance network is another killer application, just money movement around the planet, because the existing systems, either bank wires, the existing way to move large sums of money is bank wires and small sums of money is credit cards. And you have knockout periods. They don't move on the weekends. They don't move from certain jurisdictions to others. You can't program them. They're not automated. So you've got a heterogeneous, expensive manual patchwork quilt of payment options, and you can't scale that. And so Lightning helps you scale it at the transaction level. And then Bitcoin is the core settlement network. So if you want to plug 100,000
Пустой зал, ожидание вокзала. Стою и смотрю куда-то в сторону перрона.